My name is Jonathan Tomkin and I'm from the University of Illinois. What is sustainability? There are many different definitions and it can depend on the context or the area that you're interested in. In this course, we're concerned with the prospects of a sustainable Earth, including its environments, its societies, and its economies. Can our civilization persist on its current path? That's the key question we'll be looking at in this course. Now, a sustainable system does not mean that it's static. Plenty of systems go through cycles. In this figure we can see a natural grassland, and we don't call it unsustainable just because every 6 months it seems to die away to nothing. Similarly, no system is infinitely sustainable. The Earth is about halfway through its 10 billion year run with the Sun, which is going to run out. So we're going to focus on a problem that's a little bit more tractable. We're going to consider whether or not modern societies are sustainable over the next century. And there's a couple of reasons why we're focusing on this. And the first one is that it's very hard to make predictions any length of time into the future, but it particularly becomes true when we worry about what the important issues of the 22nd century are going to be. Probably whatever problems they have are either a result of us failing to solve our current problems or ones that we don't conceive. So we're going to be looking at, can we continue to have modern economies, modern societies? Can we expect life over the course of this century to be similar at the end as to what it was at the start? Note that in all cases, the study of sustainability concerns itself with the future of both people and the natural environment. One description is meeting the needs of the people of today and in the future. So we're worried about the people who are alive today and we're worried about our descendants. And this is one of the reasons why sustainability brings on a sort of a political character, because how do we weigh the needs of people today versus the people of the future who don't exist yet? And so we have all of these sort of stresses inherent in the whole concept, because there are real needs for people today and we have to very finely balance that judgment with other people. So instead of asking what do we owe future generations, I'm going to start with a more fundamental question, and that is it sustainable for civilization to continue more or less on its current course? It turns out this is not a very easy question to answer. And so here's a book, The Limits to Growth. This was published in 1972, and they predicted that we would run out of petroleum in 1992, so that's more than 20 years ago. So that's a pretty spectacular failure, but if we're trying to judge what's going to happen in the future, we need to be making predictions like that, and so we need to be finding out what's a good prediction, what's a bad prediction, and how can we tell the difference. So I'd like you to think a little bit now about what you think the most important sustainability issues are in the context that I've given you. So take a moment and write down a short list of the things that you think that we're really going to be concerned about over the course of this century. Here's a collection of lists from earlier bodies. So the first thing you realise, of course, there's no definitive list because nobody can see the future. Here we can see what some eminent committees have come up with as ideas, and you'll notice that there are some common themes, and these have been sorted into these common themes. And in this course we're particularly going to focus on the issues of population, food and agriculture, the ecosystems that we depend on, biodiversity, energy, that's going to be a very important concern for the 21st and 22nd centuries, and also water. Water is a very important, not just because we drink it or we use it in our industrial processes, but it turns out that water is the limiting factor on increasing yields in agriculture. So all of these issues are extremely important. And one of the other things that, of course, you'll have realised is that all of these issues are interconnected. Population, agriculture, water, energy, you can see that they all come together, and that if we solve all of them except for one, we might as well have not have solved any. So we have a sort of an Earth systems view where the social factors and the natural factors come together. As an example, consider colony collapse disorder in western honeybees. And I've got a nice picture of some bees here. Since 2006, there's been an abrupt drop in the number of honeybee colonies in many parts of the world, including Europe, America, and parts of Asia. And of course, this has a real knock-on effect. This is a systems impact because bees do more than provide honey. They fertilise a lot of the food crops that we rely on. And it turns out the causes of the collapse is also an example of interconnectedness. Factors include disease, pesticide use, and the commercial transport of bees that have disease. So when we talk about solutions and we talk about problems, we have to think about the fact that we really are in a global world and that we're all connected. So this leads us to the United Nations definition. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So that sounds sort of simple, but it does bring up some other issues. Can we continue to have the sort of modern lifestyle that many of us in the West and advanced economies have become accustomed to? And for those in developing countries, can they expect to catch up and experience the increased lifespans, material well-being and so on that we see in the advanced economies? Or do we have to sort of revert to the past to have a sustainable system? And so you'll see people in this latter camp quite a lot. And so the question is, well, is it really true? Do we really have choices here, or are we limited? Maybe we'll muddle through. Perhaps technology will make up for the diminishing of fossil fuels, for example. Maybe we can fix the atmosphere. Maybe we can find new sources of energy. But what happens to the natural world? Will beautiful natural places like this is the Three Sisters in Australia, will there be wild places left at the end of the century? Or will climate change trump all of these issues and make them moot? This is a scene from a drought in Texas from last year. Scientists are beginning to see that, you know, we could be experiencing some significant climate change already, and are we going to be able to adapt to that? Are we going to be able to be sustainable in the face of a changing climate? So we're going to learn about the planet, the current trends, and we're going to find out some surprising facts about where we're headed. And hopefully at the end of this course, you'll have a real appreciation for what will make us sustainable or not.
Produced by OCE Atlas Digital Media at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign.